Hello everyone, Bill here again. This is part 2 of my video addressing Manhornz. So this is part 2. What I'm going to focus in on is several mistakes he makes about Jesus, and actually this might actually be somewhat educational for the common Christian and in that realm. Okay, first of all, one of the big things he wanted to discuss was, the big thing is, first of all, most well-educated Christians know that Jesus wasn't actually born on December 25th. Okay, as I said in one video of Forerunner, if you take a look at that video, thing is that the Jews, both today and especially back then, they didn't have the calendar that we have today. Our calendar, in the grand scope of mankind, is actually still relatively new. We borrowed from the Romans. And the thing is that the church, and we openly admit this, they simply set aside a day, and they chose December 25th. Yes, it is close to December 21st, the winter equinox, but it's just set aside. But most well-educated Christians know that Jesus wasn't actually born on December 25th. So again, most Christians know that. So this idea, just born on December 25th, most Christians know that that's not actually true. It's a day just simply we set aside. Now, yes, it is true. 3 times in the New Testament, the Bible clearly states and lists them, the 12 disciples. Yes, that's true. But now here's something that's kind of glossed over by most Christians, and I'll read this. Now, I'm reading this in the New King James. Now, I have a subtitles, and this is a Thompson Chain Reference Bible, for those who have this. Okay. Luke chapter 10, verse 1. And I'll read it. After these things, the Lord appointed 70 others also, and sent them out 2 by 2 before his face within every city, the place where he himself also goes to. To go. All right. So there you go. Now, yes, most Christians are well versed in the 12 disciples of Jesus. Yes, that is true. But as I clearly show, and of course, yes, he had actually many more than that. Again, 12, even in the book of Acts, it clearly states they chose to replace Judas, so they would have 12 again. And that is correct. All I'm saying is, he had more than 12. Look at there, again, Luke chapter 10, verse 1. Look it up. Okay, and the thing is, let us also remember, Jesus had many, many followers. Thousands upon thousands of people. So, there you go. Now, okay. Now, he goes through in length about the wise men. And even goes like, look, see, the wise men, they're actually the stars in the heavens. Okay, and the star Sirius or some ridiculous thing like that. Well, the thing is that, again, one of the misnomers in the Christian faith is that there were 3 wise men. Well, actually, in the Bible, it doesn't actually say how many there were. It says there were great men, wise men from the east, or the Magi. One of the things that we forget in Christianity, and of course in modern travel, okay, for us common people, of course, like if you're like the Queen of England, there's dozens of people that travel with you. Okay, the thing is that what do? We just load our stuff in the car, and we go. Okay, well, the thing is that if you're traveling vast distances at that time period, matter of fact, even still to this day, if you go in the Middle East, okay, you got to carry the water and the food with you. There was not a Denny's or a roadside rest anywhere carrying food and serving food. So things they had to take it with them. So there were actually probably, a guesstimation, probably about 25, 50, or even 100 people traveling with them. The only reason why we say 3 kings, because there were 3 gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, and here's something, again, that we kind of gloss over. Okay, when the wise men came, okay, they came unto the house. Okay, if you look up in Matthew 2:11, it says they came unto the house. The thing is, if you actually go to Luke 2:8 through 20, again, this is the thing where it was actually the shepherds who came to Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus in the stable. The wise men came much later. If you do a little research, if you ask your minister about this, the wise men probably, it is the running theory, is that they probably came almost 2 years later and came into the house of Mary and Joseph and saw the Christ child. and gave the gifts. Okay? Now, the wise men, again, were from the east. And the thing is that back then, we separate it today because one is a science and one is basically voodoo, in my opinion. Astrology and astronomy were the same thing back then. So these wise men, or the magi, they were well versed in both. They knew when the stars were going to come up and go down. Okay, and yes, they read the constellations, they read their horoscope and all that crap. Okay, but the thing is that those sciences were the same thing. Today, we separate them. Horoscope or astrology, that's the interpretation of the stars. Astrology, okay, that's the study of the stars' movements, the rebirth of stars, supernovas, and so on, and the movement of the stars and that sort of thing. But really no mystical thing attached to astronomy. So the thing is that when the Magi finally came unto Mary and Joseph, they saw the Christ child. Now the thing is that why did they come? How did they know where to look to go to Israel, Palestine? The thing is that, again, we as Christians, we kind of forget this. We read this in Isaiah and Jeremiah. The thing is that when the Jews disobeyed God and they were dispersed, okay, and yes, they went to Babylon, Persia, they spread out through the world. They brought their Bible with them, the Hebrew Bible at that time, of course. The thing is that they, being wise men studying in all philosophy and all religion, they would have known it. Now, of course, and again, in astrology, they associated the Pisces fish with the Israelites, or the Jews. So when they saw the star in Pisces, they just knew, oh, the Jews. Well, the Jews are back home, aka Bethlehem, Jerusalem, Israel, Palestine. That's where they went. It is my running theory, and this is many people think this, although this is not really preached. Maybe when the wise men finally saw Mary and Joseph and the Christ child, Mary and Joseph was the first ones to actually witness to people that were non-Jews about the Messiah. Okay, but again, that's just conjecture. We don't actually know. Now, I recently saw a secular, on TV, non-Christian, story about the Star of Bethlehem and everything else. And because the Jews paid no attention to the stars, a Torah-observing Jew, and that being Mary and Joseph, and of course the Sanhedrin and the scribes and the Pharisees, they paid no attention to the stars. Recently, a theory is running to where Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn conjoined. They were all aligned, and therefore made the bright star. And then, of course, with Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn aligning, again in Pisces, again the Jews. That's the running theory. We don't actually know. It could have been a supernova. We don't know. But the Jews paid no attention to such things. Okay. Now, here's kind of something that, again, Manhornz pays no attention to. There is actually secular history of Jesus Christ. Now, some might say, well, no, he's totally myth, he never existed. No, we have secular history. And here's one small part. Now, any well-versed Christian minister will have this book. Okay? Matter of fact, every minister I've ever known, when I check their personal library, have always had this book. The histories of Josephus, the works of Josephus. Okay, very, very noted in Jewish history. Now, he was a Jew. He was not a disciple of Jesus. In fact, he mentions Jesus Christ only once. And here's the passage. Okay, on page 840 or 480. Excuse me, my fault. Okay, book 18, chapter 3, I guess that's how they break it up here. Okay, here it goes. Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, who was lawful and called him a man, for he was a doer of wonderful works, a teacher of such men to receive the truth with pleasure. He drew over to them both Jews and many Gentiles. He was the Christ. Okay, again, Josephus was not a disciple of Jesus. Josephus, again, was a Jew, so was Jesus, so was the disciples. But he noted that this man, this Jewish man, was calling both Jews and Gentiles to him, to the faith. So here is secular history that Christ truly did exist. So there is my thing here. So again, if you watch my first part, this guy Manhornz is totally off base, and even his own bullet points that he makes out is not true. And the thing is that here are some facts about Jesus that he clearly did not know and did not research clearly. And this man has no Christian background or no Jewish background to speak of, and he made numerous mistakes, and that is why I've made these two videos. So I hope that answers a lot of those questions. Thank you for your time.